Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the UKSAs.com Better Racing League. Today, we are going to have a little preview of the World Cup event that is going to be taking place tomorrow at 7 o'clock British Summer Time. It should be 7 o'clock UK time tomorrow. And today, we're going to have a little bit of a preview of that event and a little bit of a test to make sure that the YouTube stream is working as well, because we've been aiming to get this streamed out on YouTube and onto Twitch as per usual. On YouTube, we've uploaded 3 stream replays of round 8, 9, and 10. Round 8 was the quadruple 25% race at Suzuka. Round 8 was the incredible endurance event, the 200% race at Zandvoort. And round 10 was the driver's pole, which turned out to be 100% race around the Circuit de Monza in Italy, which concluded season 1 of the 2021's the year 2021 for the league. And we now have a special World Cup event that is going to take place tomorrow. And I believe we will be on the new game for season 2, but no official announcements made just yet about that. So I'm going to give you a quick look at the format of what we've got coming up tomorrow. It's going to be Team Americas versus Team England versus Team Europe. Now, the way this works is we have, as you can see, 6 25% distance races where every team will play the other 2 teams both home and away, which leaves us with 6 group stage matches, and 1 team will be knocked out at the end of those, and the team who comes away with the most points at the end of the group stages will be at home for the grand final. Now, the home tracks were defined by any track from the nation that the teams come from. So the easy one is England. That is going to be Silverstone, sunny Silverstone. And for Europe, they had a choice of any of the European tracks except for Silverstone, and the drivers picked Barcelona for that one. That's going to be a bit of a tricky one for the drivers. It's not particularly a driver's favourite to drive, but maybe Team Europe feel their pace is stronger at that track compared to others that they had available to them. Team Americas is obviously that continent of the world, and they have gone for the Autodromo Interlagos, I think it's called, in Brazil for their home track. So we will start by seeing Europe versus England. That will be taking place at Barcelona. England versus Americas will be at Silverstone. Americas versus Europe will be at Brazil. England versus Europe will be Silverstone again. Americas versus England will be at Brazil. And final group match will be at Barcelona. Then the grand final will be at one of the 3 tracks for that. Oh, we've got some people in the chat. Nice work, guys. Thank you, David. Let's go, America. I think America really do have a good chance of coming away with the win here. In the provisional lineups, I would say there's a couple of unknowns in there for certain. A couple of people I haven't seen race before. But out of the 3 main competitors in the championship were Simo, Dirt Shark, and Fred. Fred Nolasco is racing for Team Americas. Dirt Shark is racing for Team Americas as well, but Simo is not at the moment in the provisional racing lineup for Team Europe. So I think they really do have a good chance with 2 of the 3 top drivers from the championship, bearing in mind that this event is taking place not but a week after that is finished. So I think those are the guys on form, and those are the guys that are going to be hard to beat. So we will see tomorrow how those guys can do, and hopefully we will have a very fun and entertaining evening of races to bring you. I'm now going to jump into the game. Now we are on the PC on this bit for my little driving to show off the tracks, as I have a direct drive wheel which isn't compatible with the PS4 just yet. So that's why you see a mouse cursor and you see the controls down in the bottom right here. So it will be a multiplayer car race. That's another thing to note. So my best of 14.4. Don't think we're going to be matching that. We'll take Freddie Rasmussen's setup. He tends to be a very quick esports driver. And for those wanting some insights on what sort of a setup you should run, Freddie knows a thing or two about making some setups. So that's the setup he's gone for. If you feel like copying it, then go for it. It's not my setup. Might help you out. Might be a bit oversteery, and it might shred the tyres a little bit. But we are going to start with a few flying laps around Barcelona. And hopefully everything is all okay with the sound and everything. We're just kind of going to do this and pray for the best, really. So it looks like we're running better straight line speed than what we were before. So yeah, getting that corner hooked up on strict track limits is a very difficult one. As you can see from me, it's very easy to get an invalidation. We didn't carry anywhere near enough speed through there. You can get away with running up on the exit curb there a little bit. I think that would have been an invalidation as well. But we're just getting into it. You can't run that wide. I think the car's lacking a bit of downforce in comparison to the other cars, especially if you're comparing it to like the equal cars Red Bull and Alfa Romeo. Those two tend to be a lot better through the corners. But everybody will have the same car and they'll pop the colours of the country or countries they'll be racing with as they've selected in the Discord. I'm hearing no in-game sound on the stream, so not too sure what's going on with that. I will attempt to rectify that now. It should... Let me just have a quick check of this. It should be capturing audio, so I'm not quite sure why it's not. But I figured out why it's not. We just had a little slider in the wrong place. Hopefully there'll be some game sound now. I think lockups are going to be quite a thing to look out for. There are some quite heavy braking zones and some tricky corners. And that might just hinder some people on what's considered a very tyre wear heavy track, is Barcelona. Got some nice rotation through there though. Okay, yep, the curbs are not as forgiving as we would have liked there. But this is kind of a baseline for Barcelona. If the drivers wanted any last minute kind of tips, you want to brake around where the tarmac service road is there. And we've actually had a very good first couple of corners there actually. Ooh, no, we just hit the curb and it over-rotated the car. Don't do that. That's a pro tip. double downshift. We went for the extra downshift. We lost a tiny bit of time through there. We got the line wrong. You've got to be very careful through there if you want to keep it pinned, which the good drivers will be able to do. I'm very out of practice on F1, so I'm not quite as up to speed as some of these drivers will be, I think. Oh, this chicane always feels so clumsy every time you go through it. It's very hard to get a rhythm. But we're slowly improving on our times. Yeah, if there's any one tip I can give the drivers, 50 brake bias and 50 diff is a must. It's just free lap time. It's just free rotation, basically. As well as minimum tyre pressures. If you run default setup and just want some free lap time, that is where I would recommend starting. We've actually had a nice first sector. You can just feel the car's trying to get loose through there. Okay, we kind of got a bit of rotation and then too much rotation from the curb there. That was a good lap, all things considered. So it's a 14.8, so we're into the 14s now. That's a fairly solid lap, I'm going to be honest, I'm quite happy with that. Ooh! And that is an instance of what happens with that curb when you just don't quite get it right. It's kind of a half committed to the curb. That's one area to watch out for, is you can't just half commit to a curb. You have to really commit to taking the line. Otherwise, the curb will spit you back out and say, no thank you. Yeah, you can see the big slide that we got through the fast right-hander there. I think people will be taking track limits warnings over risking a spin through there. Or they might just take a confidence lift. This car's really snaky on the traction. We're playing a fair bit of Assetto Corsa lately. And generally the cars on that are a bit less violent on the power. So I think we're going to set a couple more laps and then we're going to move on to Silverstone. We were too cautious through there that time though, because we missed the first apex. Good exit through there. Oh, this has been a really good lap. That is a 1 minute 14.502. I will take that. That probably puts us fairly high up on the leaderboards, actually. Yeah, 14... Right now, I need to find me. I'm not scrolling through 1,000 names. Okay, this might take a while. So it's probably about top 2,000, just about. That's pretty good for the multiplayer car. So we are now going to swap over to Brazil. For a quick preview of that. I haven't done too much of the podium pass this time around. That helmet looks fairly nice though. I think there could be some good customization options with that one. So again, we're about 1200th. We'll see. Has Freddie done a lap on here? Because let's just steal his setup. He hasn't. There's quite a few esports drivers who have. Looks like Bari is probably the quickest legit time. I don't think somebody has legitimately done a 1 minute 2. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think that's quite there. Oh, he's beat Longe by 1,000th. 1 millisecond difference. Crikey. It is close at the top though. That's what we like to see. I think we'll take Bari's setup. We'll take the air quotes world record. Well, the real world record. And we'll go out for a lap. So Brazil, you're going to want to use all of the exit and get a nice run up the hill here. You're going to start your lap. You'll see some people using this longer line to get a faster top speed when going across the line to start a lap. Get the rotation. Track limits there. Better watch out for that. Keep a tight line to the inside because it gains you a little bit of time. Yeah, that curb's a harsh one for traction if you're a bit out of shape. Try not to lock a brake on the inside there. Okay, this setup is very twitchy. Very, very twitchy. It likes to rotate a huge amount. This would be a tricky one to use while in a race situation, I think. So we're going to take a slightly longer route to the line to start the next lap. That was ever so slightly off. The multiplayer car doesn't quite have the same stability that some of the other cars do, I think. You just have to wait that extra little bit of time to get on the power, which is where you lose so much time. Oof. Big snap there. Now in the race you really do want a predictable car, but the most important thing in my opinion when making a setup is you want something that just follows where you point the car, basically. It's a prominent thing in endurance racing, but especially in this. And if you're somebody that likes to just send it and go for it, then you do need the car underneath you to enable you to do that. I'm going to try... Oh, that looks like default. I was going to see if I've got Jarno's camera settings dialed up for that. Yeah, this setup particularly is a bit scared of curbs. So that's one thing that I'd be looking to tune out if I was going to use this as a race setup. Now, obviously, the league is of all abilities, so some people, like maybe the guys at the front, will be able to just make themselves a setup and they'll know what it is they need to change to edit said setup to their liking. Whereas others might just pick the default setup and prefer to go about focusing on improving driving rather than setup, which is a sensible decision to make. You know, until you get right up at the sharp end, then setup is fairly irrelevant if you're sort of in the mid-pack and you just want to get a consistent race together. I would argue that consistent driving on a default setup is much better than slightly erratic and slightly inconsistent driving on a faster setup. This is the shorter route to the line that people will take, especially in the race. So we're fairly okay on pace here for a bit of fun. There's just a few things about the multiplayer car that make it handle differently to, I believe, the Equal Cars Red Bull that I used to set the time. Ooh, that was a harsh track limits, but I think we probably did go over the lines a little bit there. So I think we'll probably do one more lap of this and then we're going to move on to sunny Silverstone. Or at least it'll be sunny in the game. It's probably raining there at the moment, knowing how Silverstone is. You got a slightly better run through T1 there. We just broke a bit too early there. It's looking like a good lap. And we just got caught on the little AstroTurf on the outside. This is the super short run to the line that you'll see people taking on qualifying laps. There we got down to a 7.1. That's a fairly respectable time, I think. Not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but still fairly solid. So we're going to switch over to Silverstone now. Just a quick clarification, it will be Silverstone full, not Silverstone short. But I think that was obvious, but just wanted to make sure everybody knows. We're not going to be using the short layout, we're going to be using the full one. With all of the great corners. Yeah, Marcel does like to call it Kieferstone, and he does have the fastest lap. Fastest legitimate lap. Now, is there somebody whose setups we tend to like? I think I'll take Freddy's setup. It honestly might be the same as the good ones. Yeah, that looks about probably the same as the world record one's going to be, but we'll give it a try now. Silverstone not just a home circuit for England drivers, but also for me. I've been here many a time in my life and will continue to do so, as will the capacity crowd that are being allowed to come to the race this season. Which is really great to see, that we're going to have a full attendance of fans. I hope included in that is the caveat that to attend you must have had your COVID vaccinations. Because we don't want a bunch of people who aren't vaccinated going to an event. Doesn't mean COVID wouldn't be spreading, but it means it's very unlikely that anybody would be affected by it if it was to spread around Silverstone. But it's good to see we're slowly getting ourselves back to normal after the pandemic. Whoa, okay. Got some wheel spin on the curb there. So I'll take you for a quick lap of Silverstone. It's really as a driver's favourite. It feels really satisfying when you nail the lap. The esports drivers tend to take that sort of a line through the first little complex there. I've not quite managed to get that nailed myself. I've been talking to a few of the drivers about that. People like Brendan Lee, Marcel Kiefer. And they all agree that line is quickest, but I just haven't managed to sew it up myself. But I guess that's why they're esports drivers and I'm not. They really do have the incredible ability to place the car exactly where they want it to go. Every lap. Like a robot whenever they want to. The car feels very unstable through that whole high-speed section. I think generally the car just feels like it wants to step out everywhere. A bit like that. But it's still a whole heap of fun to drive. We did the complex a bit better that time. But this whole lap has been a lot better so far to this point, and I'm going to curse it now. We actually missed the apex, but it didn't seem to do a lot of damage there. We hit the grass and that lost our momentum quite massively. We just broke and turned in far too early that time round. We haven't actually lost a huge amount of time from it though, which is always good. Let's try not kill our momentum this time. Or get a track limits warning, that works too. And then kill the momentum by going too slowly anyway. And we'll try one more lap, and then we'll call the end of the preview. As we don't want to spoil all of the fun. We want to save that for tomorrow. So 24.3, not a bad lap. So that is what you can expect for the race tomorrow. Or should I say races, as there will be a grand total of 7 races tomorrow. 6 in the group stages, and then we'll have the grand final. I hope you have enjoyed our little test. I hope the test has been successful. I hope the streams worked alright, the audio's been alright. And I hope to see you all very shortly tomorrow. I've been Lewis Edwards. Here are my socials if you want to follow me or say hi or whatever. I'll give you a chance to have a quick look at those. And I will see all of you, hopefully, plus more tomorrow at 7 o'clock British time. I hope you have a great rest of the evening and good morning tomorrow. Hope you all enjoy the Formula One tomorrow. And I'll see you all at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Bye for now.